Hello and welcome to another episode of For Bat to the Ball. I am Andrew here to break down the Brewers versus Reds series. This will be the first series between the Brewers and Reds. Let's just get into it. Game one was, Woodruff was coming back. Brandon Woodruff versus Brady Singer. Woodruff pitched so good after being out for so long. Or whatever, and it was a pitching duel. When we went 9 straight innings with neither team scoring and not really putting up much offense at all. Really, it's like Woodruff came up with the one hit, and then there's no walks by the Brewers pitching staff that day. It was like Woodruff pitched 6, Ashby pitched the 7th, got 2 strikeouts. Uribe came in for the 8th, and McGill came in for the 9th. But because the game was still tied into the 9th inning, after the 9th inning, we went to the 10th, and that was when the Brewers would actually break through with the manufacturing the automatic runner at second base with a sac fly from Joey Ortiz, and then Mitchell would score on a pitch not far behind him. After that, the Reds would get one more back in the bottom of the 10th, but unfortunately for them, fortunate for the Brewers, that would be all they get. So the Brewers win a score of 2-1. This is a day where the offense struggled hard. There was not many opportunities for runners in scoring position, but the fact is the Brewers went 0 for 6, and the Reds went 0 for 2. So, aka there was not a lot of things I don't think the Reds really had an opportunity to really score a run. No, because there was no one on base until the 10th inning. So those two at bats were with the automatic runner at second base. So it's like it was an all out pitching duel by pretty much by both teams or whatever, and unless that being a trend or whatever, it's like the amount of times I feel like Churio had 3 strikeouts, Yelich had 2 strikeouts, or whatever. It's like we're just striking out a ton in the series. And don't get me wrong, they were really really picking the corners too, as well as like Woodruff was. But it's just like, man, we were just not taking competitive swings or anything like that. Like it's like in the end, you won, so you're gonna take that. But in the end, it's just like, man, offense, where you at? Because it was kind of a similar case with game 2, as we had Brandon Sproat versus Nick Lodolo for the Reds, and it was kind of more of the same or whatever. It's like Sproat had probably his best pitch game of the year, as it was almost exactly the same. Actually, it was exactly the same pretty much as Woodruff the day before. He went 6 innings, only gave up the 1 hit and 10 strikeouts. Is easily his best start of the year. He looked really good this game or whatever, and I was really, really cool to see, because I feel like maybe Sprout's kind of putting it together. Maybe he's just in this stretch where everything's just kind of feeling good type thing. Maybe he's reaching midseason form. We'll see. I hope that's the case. I hope he's kind of figured out. It's like, hey, I don't need to make every pitch perfect. I just need to be able to miss a barrel and get, some soft contact or whatever. And those, you're overpowering stuff. It's like strikeouts will come. Like, you don't need to worry about the strikeout part. Like, they'll come. Just try and fool some batters, mix your pitches well, type thing. Listen to your catcher. Listen to Contreras behind the dish, or I think it was Gary Sanchez behind the dish that day. Yes, it was. With the lefty on the mound, Yelich sat, and Contreras was the DH. But yeah, so that was the case. But it was pretty much more of the same. No one really putting up much offense until Brewers finally broke through in the 6th inning. It was not the extra innings this time, as Jake Bauers tripled on a ground ball to the right fielder. It was kind of like, I don't know if it took like a weird hop for Sal Stewart over there at first base, but he just misplayed it entirely. I think it ended up taking a weird hop that he wasn't expecting. He just like flew up higher than he was expecting it to, and so he kind of just, rather than get hit in the face, he kind of ducked out of the way. So ultimately, triple. So Bauer's got a triple, Barrelman himself. It was kind of like that for a couple more innings when we put another threat together in the 8th inning where Andrew Vaughn blew out to deep center field, and Terang scored on a sacrifice fly. And really, that would be all said and done, as once again, the bullpen got it done. It was Ashby, Uribe, McGill getting it done. No hits, a few strikeouts here or there. McGill actually didn't have any strikeouts in that one. I think he's just used some very weak ground balls or fly balls or something like that. And so easy pop-ups and everything like that. It was a good win. It was, again, the offense didn't really show up again, but it was good enough. It was good enough. Like, it's always games like these. Like I was like, oh, well, so of course it's because Vaughn does well because he's facing lefties or whatever. That's why he does. But he faced always lefties and stuff like that. And I go, yeah, but at the same point, I just want him to play more. Like Bowers is playing right field or whatever. Really, could then replace him later on as a defensive replacement. Yada yada yada. But it was like, it was fine. Also, Ellie De La Cruz came back for the second game. He went 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts that game. So the Reds offense putting up about as much as the Brewers offense, but the Brewers offense was doing at least a little bit type thing. So moving on to game 3, it was Shane Drowan versus Nick, or it was like Rhett Lauder, I think his name is. I was about to say Nick Lauder, but I'm like, that's not right. It's like Rhett Lauder. This is a bit more of a offensive game, at least. Drowan looks like he went 4 and 3rd innings. I didn't really get to watch the beginning of beginning of this game, because I was watching a movie at the time. I just got out of the movie and I saw it was already 3-0, so that was pretty neat and good thing to come back to. But Drowan pitched a 4 1/3. Pitched, I don't know, decently well. He gave up a lot of contact. Walked. It says walked 3 batters. That's not always good. That's not very good. Reds had a lot of traffic in this game. That's all I really remember. So, but it was the 3rd inning when all the offense kind of awoke for the Brewers. As William Contreras hit a fly ball to center field that just got over the wall, hit off the top of the wall, and it went out. And then followed up, went back to back with Jake Bauers, who absolutely launched a ball to right field. That was a no doubter. So, and that's kind of where it stood until about the bottom of the 6th, when they started, where Patrick was kind of fighting a bit of his command a little bit, and I think he was kind of, I don't know, trying to throw the ball too hard, or I don't know, throwing his body a little bit too much or whatever. I don't know. They talked about it as like, body control sometimes can be a little difficult for Patrick at times. And you kind of saw it there a little bit. Like, he was kind of just like overthrowing pitches or underthrowing pitches or whatever type of thing. Walked 3 guys. I think he walked the bases loaded or close to that. He did give up the 1 earned run to Blake Dunn. It was the first hit with runners in scoring position, basic for both teams in, like, they say 25 innings or something like that. Pretty nuts. So, yeah, it's like Drowan. Patrick came in. Anderson came in and pitched 2/3 of an inning. Really fought his command as well. He got the first 2 outs and then just lost the ability to throw strikes. It felt like it was just like he just walk. Walk the bases loaded again. It was like a hit, and then it was a walk, and then I was like, all right, we're going to Yoho. So Craig Yoho comes in. With 1 pitch, gets out of it. Yeah. Well, Anderson did give up a run before that, I guess. Yeah, I can always forget about that. Suarez did hit a double down line. And then Yoho gets out of it in 1 pitch, but he did end up giving up a 2-run homer to Spencer Steer later on, which went from 6-3 to now 6-5, and you're sitting here going just like, oh crap, that's not good. So, and obviously mainly the reason why, like, guys like Anderson and Yoho and Kunal, who ended up getting the save or getting the 9th inning, was there is because we used McGill and Uribe back-to-back years. Also, Uribe served his suspension for his double cross chop or whatever type thing, whatever. It's done. It's over with. That's really all that matters. So he wasn't available. Ashby, it sounded like he was, but they didn't want to use him if able, basically. So they ended up not doing it. They let Kunal just finish it out. Whether I think the Brewers kind of said, well, if he gets out of it, great. If he doesn't, then I guess we did our best. So ultimately, you loaded the bases. You loaded the bases up, 1 out, and the guy, I think it was like Myers, grounded into a double play at the end of the game. So he did get out of it. Brewers ended up winning 6-5, but boy, it did not need to be that tense or that. I don't know what's the correct way of saying it. It did not need to be that close. And come playoff time, you do kind of need your secondary bullpen to kind of perform. So it's like we do need Patrick, we do need Anderson, we do need Yoho and stuff like that, and Kunal, and to at least eat an inning if need be against some good teams. So it's like this is not the greatest showing from them. Am I super worried? Not really. It's like we're expected to get. They were saying in the last game that the Brewers are expected to get back Jared Koenig this weekend against the Cubs. Great. I don't know what they're going to do to kind of ease him into the role type thing or going back or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they'll just kind of throw him in an inning. Maybe it won't be a big inning. Maybe it will be a big inning. Who knows? Just to try and get him some work, get him going, get him in midseason form. Probably. I can, but if we can get Caney back, that'd be huge. Obviously, once we get, I think, Henderson back, which I think he's scheduled for rehab start this weekend, according to the Brewers report, but from like Sophia talking about that Henderson is expected to start throwing some point, I think, this weekend for a rehab start, and so we'll see him back soon. Hopefully, is really what it comes down to, and then the rotation can just be, Miz, Harrison, Woodruff, Sproat, and Henderson, or maybe Henderson, Sproat, whatever. Any combination. That means Drohan can move back to the bullpen. It doesn't mean somebody's gonna have to go down. I'm curious if the Brewers are activating Koenig, who does come in for him. Does Yoho get sent down, or I don't know. Yeah, and we do, and I have to remember myself is like Coleman Crow is when he's expected to be back, but I assume we're gonna get him back at some point. Whether or not he's gonna be in the major leagues or if he'll be sent down to the minors again, not really sure. When that time comes. He might just end up staying in the minors, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. It might come down if there's any other injuries or if guys are underperforming, stuff like that. So DL Hall as well. I'd like to think we're gonna get him back at some point too. So overall, you end up sweeping the Reds in a 3-game series. That's always sweeps are always good. Always good as long as they're in the favor of your team. So it was the first time the Reds have been swept since they said 2024. They didn't get swept at all last year. At least not at home. That's pretty big. Obviously, the pitching is by far the talking point of this series. I mean, it held for the first 2 games held the Reds to 1 run, which was the extra runner in extra innings or whatever, and it's hard to stop from scoring or whatever, especially when you're like using like guys like Kunal or whatever, and you're not using guys like McGill or anything like that, like strikeout pitchers. Game 3, I don't know, can kind of flush or whatever. At least the offense showed up a little bit more or whatever. At least the bats kind of, well, there was home run balls or a double by Vaughn, which cleared the bases. Which, by the way, I cannot believe that Terry Francona did not have up a right-handed pitcher in the bullpen, knowing that Andrew Vaughn was on the bench. Like, did they just no respect to Andrew Vaughn, and he made him pay for it. Really ended up costing the Reds that last game too, because like without that double by Vaughn, it's Now, who knows what happens, but maybe he does the same thing against right-handed. I don't know. We'll never know in reality. So it is what it is. But yeah, pitching game 3, you kind of just go like it's the B unit, not really gonna worry about it too much in essence. But at the same point, you did have a 5-run lead when when Patrick left, and Anderson gave up 1, and then Yoho gave up 3. Not great. Now, like I said, you're not really gonna pitch these guys in super high leverage situations, but like as season wears on and stuff like that. I mean, the Brewers are about to hit like what was it? I think they're gonna play 18 games in 17 days or something like that in this next stretch here. So there's gonna be a lot of games where these guys are gonna be asked to throw innings or whatever, some bigger innings, and they're gonna have to like, hey, we need you to come through for us. We need you to hold them where they are, and type thing. So it's like we do need them to be a little sharper. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think Yoho did bad. He gave up the 2-run home run was the most egregious. Like you can kind of say, okay, 1 run, okay, we're still up a decent amount and whatever type thing. But it's like here's the thing: is like these guys will probably be expected to pitch regardless of what the score was in this game. And we can't just put so much on Ashby and McGill and Uribe. It's like we need these guys to be sharp and not worn and overused, and so they hurt themselves or anything like that. So that's why it's like I think that getting a guy like Koenig back will be huge. I think if we can get back Henderson, put him in the rotation, we get Drohan. That's another bullpen arm that we can do, especially a left-handed arm. Because now with Hall hurt, it's like we really only have like one lefty in the bullpen with Ashby, pretty much, unless I'm forgetting one. But if we do kind of need a little bit more left-handed arms in that bullpen, that'd be really nice. After having an abundance of lefties, whether it was Drohan or Ashby or Hall type thing, it's like we had there were just so many lefties we could go to in the bullpen. So kind of what I'm hoping eventually we'll be able to get back to. Oh yeah. I guess the last thing I really want to point out is that Bowers continues to be one of our best players, if not our best and most consistent bat in our lineup. Provided so much is like obviously like the solo home run. He had an RBI triple or whatever. He just got on base, and that's exactly what we need from him. It's like in the last game alone, he had a solo home run, another single, and then a walk. So it's like that's on base 3 times, and doesn't he leads in a weird stat where he also leads the league in like score from first base or whatever. It's like the guy when he sees the ball and he goes, oh yeah, I'm scoring on that, and then he runs, he takes the cuts on the base just ever so perfectly and scores from first base. You don't see a lot of guys like that, especially with like Bauer speed. Like, not that he doesn't have speed, it's just like not the fastest guy of all time. So to see him like consistently score from first from doubles, pretty neat. Usually you see that from really fast guys or whatever, but not Bowers. Like again, not that he's slow, but he's also not the fastest guy. He has like I think pretty average speed. So yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, the Red Series, nothing was really that crazy when it comes to bats or anything like that. Considering that the bats just didn't really show up. Bowers, I think, was the only real outlier. Like Vaughn had a couple like big hits or whatever in this series or whatever. Game 2, he had the one big hit or whatever. Had 2 walks. Like he produces when he's in there, man. But he needs to be in the. I don't know. I feel like I say this all the time. I'm a broken record for Andrew Vaughn, but he needs to be in there more often. It is what it is. It's hard to take Bowers out. It's hard, and I can see that Murph wants to put Frelick in there, but it's just like I need Vonnie in there more. So, yeah, well, he'll figure a way to incorporate him and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that's Red Series. Moving on to this weekend, we got another series versus the Cubs. The Cubs who are a little decimated by injury at the moment. They have a ton of pitcher injuries at the moment. So why you're gonna see this? So what you're gonna see here? The Cubs in Game 1 had Colin Ray, the former Brewer, versus Jacob Mizorowski. We got Miz on the mound against the Cubs at home. It's gonna be great. Hopefully he can really lock down the Cubs hitters just like he did the first time. That would be really, really cool. That hopefully the offense especially could wake up a little bit after that last game, maybe coming back home, having a day off or whatever. And like I said, this is the beginning of a long stretch for the Brewers. They said we're going to play in 17 days. We're going to play 18 games because we're going to make up the doubleheader with the Cardinals at some point on in this road series, in this stretch. I believe so. So it's going to get a little rough at times. But yeah, Game 1 is Miz versus Ray. Game 2 will be Kyle Harrison versus to be determined. The Cubs did make a trade for David Peterson. I'm not sure when he last pitched for the Mets. And everyone's saying that he could be a great addition to the Cubs, and I kind of agree at times, considering that, like, you look at, I mean, the Mets are a goddamn travesty, and I don't really want to get into it because I'm not here for the Mets and stuff like that. But they had 6 errors the other night, and I'm just like, holy moly, that is wild. I cannot. To have 6 errors in a game is just crazy. So that's all I'm going to say to it. And everyone says, like, oh, Peterson's a ground ball pitcher, and he is. And you have a really good infield for the Cubs, and they do, between Swanson, Bregman, Nico Horner, and then Bush, who's probably their worst glove at first base, which is kind of saying something if Bush is your worst glove and he's your first baseman. So I think the Cubs are hoping that their defense can help Peterson and stuff like that and bolster a very decimated rotation and pitching staff, considering they just put Edward Cabrera and Ben Brown on the IL. So they are definitely looking for pitchers. Obviously, they have to be determined. I think that it'd be. I still think we're probably going to end up seeing David Peterson at some point, and he'll probably make his Cubs debut in this series. I don't know whether it's going to be Game 2, Game 3, or if he pitched very recently for the Mets, it might not even be the series at all. So. And then Game 3, we got Brandon Woodruff versus, again, to be determined for the Cubs. Find out who they'll be pitching there. And stuff like that. We got our best pitchers on the mound for the Cubs at home. So with Miz, Harrison, and Woodruff, this is the rotation that I was hoping to see at some point. And now we have seen it, and now we are seeing it. So we got. I think there's every possibility that as long as the offense wakes up a little bit more than it has, the Brewers could potentially sweep the Cubs again and take a 6-0 lead. We'll see. I'll stay conservative and go 2 out of 3. Cannot spoil Miz and Harrison again. We cannot do that. And considering the Cubs pitching is going to not be nearly as good as the pitching for the Braves, I think there's a very realistic chance that we could take all of them. Let's just do it. And it's like, it's like we've seen from like Miz or whatever. Miz, when the light gets brighter, he pitches better. He locks in better, and he locks in more. And I guarantee you that he's thinking like the Cubs are in town. I gotta pitch. I gotta be on my A game. So we'll see what we get from Miz. Hopefully it'll be something really, really good. Unfortunately, that's the game on Apple TV. So yay! I'm so glad that Miz's next start is going to be on freaking Apple TV. Great, wonderful, awesome, spectacular. Huh. Oh, I was just looking. Mitchell's never faced Colin Ray. Interesting. Nor Gary Sanchez. Okay. I guess that makes sense because they were kind of teammates at the time. Nah. Oh, I know this is gonna be a good series. Cubs are coming off of a series with the Mets, which the Mets look terrible, just look awful. Yeah, shocker. So, yeah, we do have a decent lead over the Cubs, but obviously you don't want to let up. You don't want to let up the gas. Brewers are sitting at 49 wins. You can kind of see it over there. Cubs are sitting at 49, or the Brewers are kind of sitting at 49 wins. Cubs are sitting at 43 wins. There's about a 7-game difference there. The Brewers have 6 more wins and 8 less losses at the moment. So, overall, feeling pretty confident. I'm really hoping that the bats would come alive a little bit more now that you're back at home or whatever. Like the shadows, I know at a Great American Field can be rough at times, and it can be bright looking at the pitcher. But yeah, you just between the Brave series and now the Red series, and like the bats just slumped. I don't know. It's just like we're watching too many. Like we're just not being aggressive enough at the plate. It kind of feels like. That's really how I look at it. It's just like we're just not being aggressive enough at the ballpark or at the plate. It's just like the amount of times I watched strike 3 just being called in this Red series. It's just like, oh, it's infuriating, stuff like that. And it's like, yes, the Reds were pitching really well, and you know, Reds pitchers were hitting the corners pretty consistently. But at the same point, it's like, at least take a hack. Like, I don't know. I'd rather you strike out swinging than strike out looking at something in the zone. So, yeah. Put your faith in the Brewers bats, though. Hopefully, they will do better this series going forward. I really don't know what the pitching rotation is for the Cubs at the moment. I know Ray is kind of in there. I think it's like Javier Assad. I mean, they just traded for David Peterson. I don't even know what else, to be honest with you. So, like, yeah, I mean, look, is it great for us that they have all these injuries coming into it? Absolutely. Is it great for the Cubs? Fucking, like, gotta be able to pitch, man. So, I don't know. Like, I think I'm pretty sure the Cubs are still firmly in, like, playoff spot with, like, a wild card spot at the moment. Right? They're in the last wild card spot. So, this is true. You always forget how good the freaking National League is and how bad the American League is. Like, look at this. Like, okay, so the wild card standings right now are the Philadelphia Phillies are in the top wild card spot because Braves have the division lead. Only by a few games, though, I will point out. And the Braves are not doing well at the moment. They're kind of skidding at the moment. That's why the Brewers have taken over the second best National League. Second best National League. I can't think. Record. So let me just pull this up real fast. So this is the standings as they currently sit. So you got the Dodgers on top, the Brewers, the Atlanta Braves. National League wild card is the Philadelphia Phillies, number 1 at 44 and 36. The Cardinals at 42 and 36, and the Cubs who are 43 and 73. And then there's the Padres, the Marlins, Diamondbacks, Pittsburgh Pirates, and one Nationals. And realistically, I realistically believe that any of these teams, like like from the Reds up, could potentially get a wild card spot. Maybe with the exception of the Marlins. I don't know. They're playing really well right now. Like they're 7-3 in their last 10. We'll see about them. But they're playing well. It's right about this line where you say, okay, yeah, you guys are out of it. The Mets, the Giants, and the Rockies. You're done. You're done. You're done. You're done, son. So, I mean, you look, and then you look at the American League or whatever. It's like, yeah, Yankees are on top with 48 wins, which actually the Brewers would be on top of the American League at the moment. The Chicago White Sox, who are the leader in the Central, very surprising team. But the fact is, like the record is 41-38. When you look at the National League, like the only team that has 30 losses is the Braves, and every one of these and the fact is, like the West winner right now is the Seattle Mariners, and they're exactly 500 at 41-41. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So. And then the top wildcard spot is the Tampa Bay Rays, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Toronto Blue Jays. Who are 39-41. It's why as much as the Detroit Tigers are 12 games under 500 or whatever type thing. It's like, oh, but they're not out of it. They're 5 games back, and there's still a decent amount to play. Maybe we don't want to trade Tarek Skubal. Maybe we want to go all in, and they go, you're all nuts, but do you, bro? I don't know. You do you, man. So, Astros are not out of it necessarily. I mean, look at this. Like pretty much, like I would even say the Twins are not necessarily out of it either. It's just like probably from here, from like Detroit up, the A's probably in it. And you're like, well, why couldn't the Kansas City Royals? And I go, no. These 3 teams, garbage bin. I know the Royals are also just injury riddled at the moment too, and that's not going to help their case whatsoever. So, yeah. So that's the standings as they sit there. Brewers, I think, are in a very comfortable spot. Obviously, if they win Friday, they'll be at 50 wins. And I believe the Dodgers were the first 50 wins. They have 52 wins. So I think that they said the Brewers are on pace for 99 wins at the moment. So, and obviously that's another franchise record, if that is the case. But we will see from there. Just got to keep moving. Just got to keep motoring. Just doing what you're doing, man. So it's really all it comes down to. It's like the Brewers are doing extremely well and should feel really good about themselves. I mean, I was like, also, I just want to point this out. I'm sorry, I was going back to this for a second. Normally early on in the season, you don't really factor in, record against teams above 500, but because the National League is so good, pretty much, or at least you have a bunch of teams over 500 or at 500, pretty much, the Brewers are 30-17 against them. That's pretty good. Usually early on in the season, I don't really factor that in too much, but we're decent enough into the season that you can start factoring that in and feel pretty decent about it. So, yeah. Yeah. This is really all I was really wanting to say there. So, obviously, you got your eight pitchers on the mound. Bullpen will be a little more rested with the day off Thursday. Come on Friday. Hopefully, get a win on the Mizrowski day, and can do the same thing with Kyle Harrison on the mound, and do the same thing with Woodruff on the mound. If he can pitch like he did with the Reds against the Reds, well, and it's gonna be a big series. So it's gonna be crowds. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be fun, and we're hopefully gonna take at least 2 of them. So yeah. All right. Enough of my rambling though. So I will see you all. I believe Monday or Sunday, one of the two. To recap the Cubs series. So until then, thank y'all so much for watching or listening. this breakdown of the Red Series, and I look forward to the Cubs series. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all next time. We'll see you, like I said, Sunday and or Monday, depending on when I can actually sit down and record this and put it out. So that's what it comes down to. So thank y'all again. I'll see you all then. Let's go get them Cubs. Bye bye.